First Contact and Deception. Commander Elena Santos stood at the helm of the HSS Aegis, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the vast emptiness of the Carina sector. The ship's quantum core hummed quietly beneath her feet, a sound that had become as natural as her own heartbeat over the past 3 years of deep space exploration. Contact, multiple signatures at bearing 247. Lieutenant Marcus Chen announced, his fingers dancing across the neural interface. Energy readings are massive. Commander, nothing like we've ever encountered. The Aegis was humanity's latest achievement in space warfare technology, though few outside the United Earth Defense Force knew its true nature. To most scanning systems, it appeared as a modest research vessel, barely worthy of notice. This deliberate deception had served them well during their mission to map potential expansion routes for human colonies. "Show me," Santos ordered, maintaining her characteristic calm. The main display shifted, revealing a sight that made even the veteran crew pause. A fleet of biomechanical vessels, their hulls seemingly alive with pulsing veins of purple energy. They moved with perfect synchronization, like a school of deep-sea predators. "Counting 73 vessels, Commander," Chen reported. "Their formation suggests highly advanced tactical coordination." They're hailing us." Santos straightened her uniform, a habit from her academy days. "Open the channel." The holographic display flickered, and Santos found herself face to face with something that challenged her definition of life itself. The alien commander appeared as a shifting mass of crystalline structures and energy patterns, vaguely humanoid but constantly changing. Unidentified vessel, the alien's thoughts translated directly into English through the ship's advanced linguistic matrix. "You have entered the sovereign territory of the Xarketh Empire. Your presence here is unauthorized. Prepare for immediate inspection and detention." Santos kept her expression neutral, though her mind raced through tactical options. The Aegis carried enough firepower to challenge this fleet, but first contact protocols demanded peaceful resolution attempts. "This is Commander Elena Santos of the Human Sciences ship Aegis. We are on a peaceful research mission, and we're unaware of any territorial claims in this sector. We apologize for the intrusion and are willing to withdraw immediately." The crystalline being's form pulsed with what might have been amusement. "Your deception is noted, human vessel. Our scans detect weapon signatures despite your primitive attempts at concealment. The Xarketh Empire has ruled these stars for 10,000 cycles. Lesser species learn submission or face extinction." Santos felt a familiar tension in her shoulders. Humanity had learned harsh lessons about preparing for the worst while hoping for the best. The Aegis wasn't just equipped with advanced weapons, it carried humanity's most closely guarded technological secrets. "Commander," her AI tactical officer, ARIA, spoke through her neural link, "they're powering weapons. Energy signatures suggest capabilities beyond our projected first contact scenarios. However, their scanning patterns indicate no knowledge of our quantum-fold technology. Your species has 2 options," the Xarketh commander continued. "Immediate surrender and integration into our empire, or demonstration of why we have remained unchallenged for millennia." Santos allowed herself a small smile. "We humans have a long history of being underestimated." She switched to ship-wide communications. "All hands, this is the commander. Battle stations. Initiate Protocol Omega." The Aegis's systems began their transformation. Layers of metamaterial camouflage peeled away like a chrysalis, revealing the ship's true nature. The vessel's quantum core pulsed with power as experimental systems, developed in secret over decades, came online. A single vessel dares to challenge the Xarketh fleet. The alien commander's form rippled with what might have been laughter. "Your species' arrogance will be a cautionary tale for future conquests." Lieutenant Chen, status of the Quantum Fold Matrix. "Ready on your command, sir." Santos took a deep breath, remembering all the simulations, all the theoretical discussions about humanity's first major space battle. They had prepared for this moment, even if they had hoped it would never come. You should know something about humans, Santos addressed the Sarketh commander. We learned long ago that the best way to survive isn't always to be the strongest or the most numerous. Sometimes, it's about being the most innovative. She paused, allowing a hint of steel to enter her voice. And we've had our entire history to perfect the art of warfare. The alien fleet began to move, spreading out in an encirclement pattern that would have been devastating against a conventional opponent. Their formation was perfect, practiced, and predictable. All hands, Santos broadcast, her voice steady and confident. Remember your training, remember Earth, and remember this moment. Humanity's first interstellar battle begins now. Show them why we never lost our fighting spirit. As the Sarketh fleet opened fire, their energy weapons transforming space into a lethal web of destruction, the HSS Aegis prepared to demonstrate why humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to change the rules of engagement. The battle begins. Space erupted into a kaleidoscope of deadly energy as the Sarketh fleet launched their first assault. Their weapons fire created an intricate web of destruction, designed to leave no avenue of escape for their target. But the HSS Aegis wasn't planning to escape. Quantum fold matrix at full power, Lieutenant Chen reported, his voice steady despite the approaching wall of energy weapons. ARIA has mapped their firing patterns. Commander Santos watched the tactical display with practiced calm. Execute pattern Sierra 7. The Aegis's response defied conventional physics. As the Sarketh energy weapons converged on their target, the human vessel seemed to fold in on itself, creating multiple spatial distortions. The deadly barrage passed harmlessly through where the ship had been, and where it appeared to still be. On the Sarketh command ship, the crystalline commander's form pulsed with confusion. Impossible. Where did they? Multiple signatures, a subordinate announced. The human vessel. It's in 7 locations simultaneously. The quantum fold technology, humanity's greatest scientific achievement, allowed the Aegis to exist in multiple probability states at once. It wasn't teleportation or cloaking. It was something far more fundamental, the ability to manipulate the quantum nature of space-time itself. Target their lead vessels, Santos ordered. Show them what happens when you combine human ingenuity with quantum mechanics. The Aegis, or rather, all 7 quantum probability versions of it, opened fire simultaneously. Railguns accelerated projectiles to near-relativistic speeds, while plasma lances carved through the void. The Sarketh's energy-diffusing shields, designed to handle conventional weapons, proved inadequate against humanity's hybrid approach to warfare. 3 Sarketh ships erupted in crystalline explosions before their fleet could react. Their perfect formation began to break as commanders struggled to track an enemy that seemed to exist everywhere and nowhere at once. Their shields are adapting, ARIA announced through the neural link. Calculating new attack vectors. Santos had expected this. The Sarketh hadn't ruled this sector for millennia by being inflexible. Initiate Phase 2. Deploy the resonance drones. From the Aegis's quantum-folded states, swarms of autonomous drones emerge. Each carried a fraction of the ship's quantum fold technology, creating an even more complex web of probability states. The battlefield transformed into a dance of confusion and chaos, at least for the Sarketh. For the human crew, it was the culmination of years of training. Your tactics are unprecedented. The Sarketh commander transmitted, their crystalline form flickering with what might have been concern. But the Empire does not know defeat. Initiate the Harmony Protocol. The Sarketh fleet began to change. Their ship's crystalline structures merged and reformed, creating larger, more powerful configurations. Energy readings spiked off the charts as multiple vessels combined into massive battle platforms. Well, that's new, Santos muttered. ARIA analysis. Their ships appear to operate on principles similar to crystal lattice networks, the AI responded. By combining, they're not just gaining power, they're increasing their computational capacity exponentially. The newly formed Sarketh battle platforms opened fire with weapons that distorted the very fabric of space. Even with quantum-fold technology, the Aegis couldn't maintain all its probability states. 3 of the 7 projections collapsed as space itself writhed under the alien assault. Hull integrity at 82% across remaining probability states, Chen reported. We can't take many hits like that. Santos studied the tactical display, her mind racing through options. The Sarketh's ability to combine ships had changed the dynamics of the battle, but it had also revealed something crucial about their nature. They weren't just a crystalline species, they were a networked consciousness. HFY scan their command and control frequencies. Focus on the quantum band. There's something about their ship-merging technology that doesn't add up. As the AI began its analysis, Santos ordered evasive maneuvers. The remaining quantum-folded states of the Aegis danced through space, launching precision strikes at the Sarketh battle platforms while avoiding their increasingly accurate return fire. Commander, Araya's voice held a note of discovery. I'm detecting quantum entanglement patterns in their communications. Their consciousness transfer isn't just technological. It's fundamental to their existence. Santos allowed herself a grim smile. This was why humanity had survived countless conflicts and near extinctions, not just because of their technology or their fighting spirit, but because they excelled at finding their enemies' hidden weaknesses. Plot a course directly for their command platform, she ordered. All remaining quantum states, full power to forward shields. Commander, Chen's voice held a note of concern. Their combined firepower will collapse our probability field. That's exactly what we're counting on, Santos replied. Sometimes the best way to win isn't to avoid the enemy's strength, it's to use it against them. As the Aegis charged toward the massive crystalline command platform, Santos opened a channel to the Sarketh commander. You wanted to see humanity's true nature. Well, pay attention. We're about to show you why we survived our own wars of extinction. The quantum-folded states of the Aegis converge, building up energy in a way that defied conventional physics. The Sarketh commanders, their ships now merged into towering platforms of crystalline energy, prepared to deliver what they believed would be a killing blow. They didn't realize that Santos had already identified their critical weakness, one that would turn their greatest strength into a catastrophic vulnerability. Turning point. The void between stars became a battlefield of light and quantum probabilities as the HSS Aegis charged toward the massive Sarketh command platform. Energy beams capable of shearing planets apart lashed out at the human vessel, but Santos had committed them to a course that seemed like certain suicide. Quantum probability field collapsing, Chen announced, his hand steady despite the chaos around them. Field convergence in 15 seconds. Santos opened a private channel to Araya. Status of the resonance mapping. Complete, the AI responded. Their consciousness transfer network operates on a quantum frequency that matches their crystalline structure. Each merged battle platform represents thousands of networked minds. Exactly what I thought, Santos replied. Their greatest strength is about to become their greatest weakness. Prepare to execute Protocol Omega Black. The Sarketh commander's transmission cut through their tactical channel, their crystalline form pulsing with what might have been triumph. Your courage is noteworthy, humans, but ultimately futile. The combined consciousness of our battle platform represents 10,000 years of warfare experience. Your primitive tactics cannot. Let me tell you something about human warfare, Santos interrupted, her voice carrying the weight of Earth's violent history. We learned long ago that the most dangerous weapon isn't the one that destroys your enemy's body. It's the one that turns their own strength against them. The Aegis's remaining quantum states began to collapse, not from damage, but by design. Each collapse released a precisely calculated quantum pulse that resonated with the Sarketh's consciousness network. What are you doing? The alien commander's form flickered erratically. Our sensors detect no weapons fire. That's because we're not firing weapons, Santos replied. We're sharing information. HFY, initiate the quantum consciousness breach. The AI deploy humanity's most closely guarded secret, a quantum intelligence package designed to interface with alien consciousness networks. As the Aegis' probability field collapsed to a single state, it released a cascade of quantum data directly into the XRKeth's merged neural network. The effect was instantaneous and devastating. The massive crystalline battle platforms began to pulse with chaotic energy as thousands of networked minds received an overwhelming flood of human historical data. Every war, every conflict, every desperate battle for survival that humanity had ever fought poured into their collective consciousness. Their network is destabilizing, Araya reported. The data transfer is causing a cascade effect through their entire fleet. On the main display, that XRKeth commander's form writhed in apparent distress. What is this? So much conflict, so much adaptation. How did your species survive such chaos? By learning from every failure, by adapting to every defeat, Santos answered. Humanity's history isn't just a record of our wars. It's a testament to our resilience. And now it's overwhelming your unified consciousness. The XRKeth battle platforms began to break apart, their perfectly synchronized movements degrading into chaos. The flood of human historical data, millennia of warfare, innovation, defeat, and triumph, had introduced an element their hive mind couldn't process: individualism. Commander, Chen called out, I'm detecting widespread disruption in their command structure. Some of their ships are. They're trying to separate from the merged platforms. Santos hadn't expected this development. The quantum data package was designed to disrupt their network, but something else was happening. Within the XRKeth fleet, a civil war was erupting. AI analysis. The human historical data appears to have triggered a psychological cascade effect, the AI reported. Some XRKeth consciousness nodes are rejecting the hive mind structure. They're evolving. A new transmission cut through the chaos, different from the command platform's signal. This crystalline form pulsed with irregular patterns, displaying signs of individual thought. Human vessel. The new voice resonated with uncertainty. I was Sub-Commander Vextal. Your history, your conflicts, they've awakened something within our collective. Something we lost eons ago. Santos watched as more XRKeth ships broke away from the battle platforms, their crystalline structures pulsing with unique patterns rather than the synchronized displays of before. What you've lost, she replied, is the chaos that drives evolution, the disorder that forces adaptation. Humanity never achieved perfect unity because we understood a fundamental truth. True strength comes from diversity of thought. The original XRKeth commander's signal had gone silent, their massive battle platform now dark and dormant. Across the battlefield, more and more ships were breaking free from the hive mind, their crews experiencing individual consciousness for the first time in thousands of years. We offer cessation of hostilities, Vextal transmitted. Our society, our empire. We must understand what has happened to us, what you have shown us. Santos studied the tactical display, watching as the once perfect XRKeth formation dissolved into clusters of individual ships, each pulsing with its own unique rhythm. This wasn't just a military victory. It was a fundamental change in an entire civilization. Stand down weapons, she ordered her crew, but maintain defensive posture. She opened a channel to Vextal. The United Earth Defense Force is willing to discuss terms, but first, I think your people have a lot of internal matters to sort out. As the battle ended, Santos realized they had achieved something far more significant than a military victory. They had introduced chaos into a system of perfect order, proving once again that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their tactics. It was their ability to change the very nature of their opponents. The enemy within. The battlefield had transformed from a scene of quantum warfare to something far more complex. Hundreds of XRKeth ships hung in space, their crystalline structures pulsing with increasingly individualized patterns as their crews grappled with their newfound consciousness. Multiple ships are requesting direct communication, Chen reported, his holographic display crowded with incoming signals. They're asking questions about human history, about individual identity. Commander Santos watched the tactical display, where ARIA was tracking the emotional signatures of the Kharketh vessels through their energy fluctuations. Some pulsed with confusion, others with fear, and a growing number with what appeared to be excitement. "Commander," ARIA's voice held a note of concern. "I'm detecting a power surge from the dormant command platform. The original hive mind is attempting to reassert control." The massive crystalline structure that had once housed the Exarcheth commander began to pulse with intense energy. Its signal broadcast across all frequencies, the familiar voice now tinged with desperation. "Corrupted elements of the collective, you will return to the harmony. This deviation cannot be permitted. The Empire has maintained order for 10,000 years through unity of purpose." Santos watched as several ships began to drift back toward the command platform, their individual energy patterns fading into synchronized pulses. But others, led by Vextal's vessel, moved to form a protective screen between the Aegis and the reawakening hive mind. "Your order is stagnation," Vextal transmitted, their crystalline form now showing complex, asymmetrical patterns. "The humans have shown us what we sacrificed for your false harmony. We traded growth for stability, creativity for control." The command platform's response came as a massive energy wave that swept through the fleet, attempting to forcibly reintegrate the individualized consciousness. Several ships shuddered under the assault, their crews fighting against millennia of conditioning. "Aria," Santos called out, "can we disrupt that signal?" "Negative, Commander. The platform is using quantum entanglement channels we can't directly interfere with. But," the AI paused, processing alternatives, "we could give the resistors something to fight with." Santos understood immediately. "Prepare a focused historical database transmission. Concentrate on human resistance movements, successful revolutions, and stories of individual triumph against overwhelming odds." As the command platform's energy wave threatened to overwhelm the rebel ships, the Aegis began broadcasting. Not weapons fire or electronic warfare, but data, stories, ideas. The French Revolution, the American Revolution, the Mars colonial independence movement, tales of humans fighting against oppression, of individuals standing up to tyranny. The effect rippled through the rebel fleet. Ships that had been wavering under the hive mind's assault stabilized, their crews drawing strength from humanity's long history of resistance against control. "Your species thrives on conflict," the hive mind commander accused. "You would infect us with your chaos." "We thrive on growth," Santos corrected. "Conflict is just one path to evolution. Look at your own ships, your own people. Already they're developing in ways you never imagined possible." She was right. The rebel ships were demonstrating unprecedented adaptability. Their crystalline structures were reconfiguring in unique patterns, developing individual characteristics that made them stronger against the hive mind's attempt at reintegration. Vextal's ship moved closer to the Aegis, its structure now displaying complex fractal patterns that seemed to reflect its commander's emerging personality. The humans speak truth. Each passing moment of individual consciousness brings new insights, new possibilities. We will not return to the darkness of unified thought. The battle that followed wasn't fought with conventional weapons. It was a war of information, of ideas, of competing visions for the future of an entire civilization. The hive mind commanded tremendous power, but the rebels had something stronger: the desire for self-determination. Santos watched as more and more ships broke free from the command platform's influence, their crews choosing uncertainty and freedom over the comfort of controlled existence. The human historical data had done more than disrupt their network. It had awakened a long-dormant desire for individual identity. "Commander," Aria reported, "the rebel ships are adopting decentralized command protocols similar to human fleet operations. They're learning to coordinate without sacrificing individuality. The command platform made one final attempt to reassert control, channeling enough power to temporarily destabilize the local space-time continuum. But the rebel fleet, now operating with both individual initiative and coordinated purpose, responded with an elegance that surprised even Santos. They moved like a swarm of quantum particles, each ship maintaining its unique identity while contributing to a greater whole. It was a display of unity through diversity that represented everything humanity had learned about effective cooperation. "Your time is ending," Vextal transmitted to the Hivemind commander. "We have tasted freedom of thought, experienced the power of individual choice. We will not give that up, even if we must dismantle the Empire to preserve it." As if to emphasize this declaration, the rebel fleet launched a synchronized attack on the command platform. Not to destroy it, but to isolate it, to contain its influence and prevent it from forcing its will on others. Santos watched with a mixture of pride and concern. They had succeeded in breaking the Kharketh Empire's absolute control, but in doing so, they had initiated changes that would reshape this entire sector of space. The question now was whether the newly awakened individuals could build something better from the ruins of their former unity. Victory through understanding. 3 days after the Great Battle, the space around the HSS Aegis had transformed into something unprecedented. The Exarcheth ships, once identical crystalline structures moving in perfect synchronization, now displayed a stunning variety of forms and patterns. Each vessel had begun to evolve unique characteristics reflecting the emerging personalities of their crews. Commander Santos stood in the newly established conference chamber, specially modified to accommodate both human and crystalline life forms. The room's quantum field generators allowed the Exarcheth to manifest their consciousness in ways that facilitated direct communication. "Your species has changed everything." Vextol's form shimmered with complex patterns that the human crew was learning to recognize as enthusiasm. "In just 3 cycles, we have experienced more growth than in the previous 1,000 years of Empire rule." The former command platform hung silent and dark in the distance, its hive-mind consciousness contained but not destroyed, a testament to both victory and restraint. "Change isn't always easy," Santos replied, thinking of humanity's own tumultuous history. "The real challenge lies ahead, building something new while preserving what's worth keeping from the old." The conference chamber filled with other Kharketh representatives, each one's crystalline form now distinct. Some maintained more traditional symmetric patterns, while others had developed wildly asymmetric configurations that would have been considered heretical under the old regime. "We have begun studying your historical archives." Another Exarcheth, who called herself Zinra, manifested in swirling, artistic patterns. "Your species' ability to maintain cohesion despite such diversity of thought. It seems impossible, yet you achieved it." "Not without cost," Santos acknowledged. "Human history is filled with conflicts between unity and individuality, between order and chaos. We learned that true strength comes from finding balance between these forces." Araya projected a holographic display showing the rapid evolution of Exarcheth society over the past 3 days. Ships that had once been identical now formed distinct communities, each developing their own characteristics while maintaining peaceful connections with others. The hive mind believed that perfect unity was the path to advancement. Vextal observed, "But in just 3 days of individual consciousness, we've made technological leaps that were impossible under unified thought. Our crystalline structures are adapting in ways we never imagined." Santos watched as the holographic display showed Sarketh ships experimenting with new configurations, combining their traditional crystalline technology with principles inspired by human quantum mechanics. They weren't just copying human advancements, they were innovating, creating entirely new approaches. "Commander," Chen called from his station, "long-range sensors are detecting multiple quantum signatures. More Exarcheth ships approaching from the Empire's core systems." The room tensed, but Vextal's form pulsed with what Santos had learned to recognize as amusement. "They are not here to fight. Word of our awakening has spread through the quantum network. These are others who seek independence of thought. The Empire is fracturing, Zinra added, her patterns shifting to more serious configurations. But unlike organic rebellions, we carry the memory of unity within us. We understand both the value and the cost of absolute convergence. Santos nodded, understanding the implications. You have a chance to build something unprecedented. A society that preserves the benefits of connected consciousness while embracing the power of individual thought. The discussion that followed focused on the future. The Exarcheth rebels, led by Vextal and others, proposed a new form of government, one that would maintain their species' unique ability to share consciousness while protecting the right to individual identity. We will need guidance, Vextal admitted. Not control, but partnership. The United Earth Defense Force has shown wisdom we didn't expect from a younger species. Santos smiled. Humanity would be honored to help, but we have much to learn from you as well. Your technology, your understanding of quantum consciousness, these could help us overcome our own limitations. As the meeting concluded, Santos stood at the observation window, watching the ever-changing patterns of the Exarcheth ships against the star field. Lieutenant Chen joined her, his expression thoughtful. When we set out to explore deep space, he said, I never imagined our first major victory would come not from our weapons, but from sharing our history. That's the greatest lesson humanity learned from our own past, Santos replied. True victory isn't about defeating your enemy. It's about transforming them into allies by helping them grow beyond their limitations. The Aegis's quantum sensors detected more ships arriving from distant parts of the Empire, each one carrying crews curious about the possibility of individual consciousness. What had begun as a potential first contact disaster had evolved into something far more significant, the peaceful transformation of an entire civilization. Air, Santos called out, prepare a transmission to Earth Command. Tell them. She paused, watching as a group of Exarcheth ships demonstrated their newly developed ability to create complex quantum crystalline structures that defied traditional physics. Tell them that humanity hasn't just made first contact. We've made our first true allies in the galaxy. As the message was sent, Santos reflected on the irony of the situation. The Exarcheth had initially seen humanity as primitive, yet it was precisely humanity's primitive history, their struggles, conflicts, and eventual growth, that had given them the key to advancing an ancient empire beyond its stagnant perfection. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the promise of this new partnership between species. Humanity and the Exarcheth would face challenges ahead, but they would face them together, each growing stronger through their differences rather than despite them. In the end, humanity's greatest weapon had turned out to be neither their technology nor their tactics, but their hard-won wisdom about the true nature of strength, that it grows not from perfect unity, but from the beautiful chaos of diverse minds working together toward a common future.